Hey guys, it's Adam, welcome back to monthly recap number 12, and yes, that does mean a full year has passed since I've started this channel. I will be making a separate anniversary video about that, and as you can probably tell, I also have a new microphone, which I will also make a separate video about, but for now, let's just move on to the game collection. So as you can see, I don't have a mic arm for it just yet, so I'm just going to use my own. I will explain why in that other video, but for now, let's just take a look at the games that I've got. So this month's theme was very similar to last month, where I've got a bunch of PlayStation 4 and Xbox games that I was missing from my collection, especially the ones that I wanted to buy brand new, and same thing goes for Switch games this month. I have purchased a couple of Switch games that I wanted to purchase from stores instead of second-hand. So starting with Astral Chain, which is the first game on the list today, which I believe is a JRPG, maybe even a little bit Souls-like kind of thing, something like that. I'm not too familiar with it. I've seen a couple of gameplay videos and that looked very appealing. And also it's a Switch exclusive, so that definitely puts it high up on the list on my collection. After that we've got Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 1 as a download code as well. I'm not so happy that it's a download code. I would have wanted a physical release for Bayonetta 1, but sadly that's not really available. I mean, technically that was released for the Wii U. I don't remember right now, but I guess I will be collecting that for that other console, and I will keep the digital version on the Switch for playing, I guess. So the next thing we have is Fire Emblem Three Houses. This is a game that I was very interested in when I purchased my Switch, but then I've got a couple of other games that I was more interested in. So this kind of became part of my backlog. This is a turn-based strategy role-playing game, I think, with some interesting story, but I don't know too much about that. I generally like not spoiling games for myself, so if a game looks good on the trailer and the first couple of gameplay videos that I watch of it, then I usually just stop consuming any sort of content about the game and just purchase it and play it myself. I find it that it's a lot more enjoyable that way. So now we have also a very similar game that I know very little about. Live Alive is the title, and as far as I know, it's technically 8 different games in one, because you have 8 protagonists and all of them have their own stories. And not just their own stories, but actually the gameplay also changes based on which character you're choosing and the era in which you are playing, or like the setting, right? So one character is in Edo period of Japan, another character is in the Wild West, and there is one in Imperial China as well. So that's actually a very interesting concept. I think it's something similar to like Triangle Strategy and Octopath Traveler. Although it's a little bit different because these are like completely different stories instead of... I think in Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy, you are essentially in the same world, in the same era. You are just playing the story from different characters' perspectives, if I'm not mistaken. But this one is actually completely different stories, and as far as I know, even the gameplay is different. Like one of them is like a turn-based combat, the other one is real-time combat or something like that. But the next game on the list is Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Last month, Pikmin 4 was released, and I've got that one, so I just figured, I guess, taking Pikmin 3 would be a good idea, because I already have Pikmin 1 plus 2, the remasters, pre-ordered, so it would have been weird to miss the third game in the series. Then we've got another exclusive game for the Switch, Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. I think 3D World is actually a re-release or a remaster from maybe a Wii U game or maybe even a DS game, but Bowser's Fury is the exclusive game for the Switch, and you can only get that with this kind of bundle. I guess it's more of a DLC to the game, as far as I know. And we've got Yoshi's what's the name? Yoshi's Crafted Island, which is sort of a Mario game, but with Yoshi being the main character, and I guess there are also a couple of gameplay differences. But to be perfectly honest, I'm not that much into these platforming games, like Mario games and Yoshi games, but every now and then I do feel like playing one of them, so I just got these exclusive titles for the Switch, so that if I wanted to play one, I get a couple of choices. Now, other than that, staying on the topic of Nintendo Switch, I've actually got the new Zelda-themed controller for the Nintendo Switch. This is the Pro Controller, based on Tears of the Kingdom's art design. And this is actually the most beautiful Pro Controller I think they have ever released for the Switch. I like this black and gold. Actually, let me hold this up. So I really like this black and gold styling, although the wide grip on the right is a little bit weird. I'm actually thinking about switching that wide grip with the classic black colored Pro controller, because you can actually just switch them off. So this would be a completely black and gold controller. Now I have another Switch game, but that's a collector's edition and that's fairly big, and holding the mic in one hand and showing that, it's going to be a little bit tricky. So first, before I get into that, first let me show you two PlayStation games that I've got this month. One of them was Tunic for the PlayStation 4. It's a quite Zelda-inspired adventure game, as far as I know. It has a lot of great boss fights and the Zelda-like progression and adventuring. So given that I really like Zelda games and I'm playing most of them, I think this would be a game that I would really like. I was thinking about buying the Switch or the PlayStation 4 version, but I checked out a couple of gameplay videos and the Switch version seems to be blurry visuals. I guess the game is running at a much lower resolution than even its 720p or 1080p native resolution. So I've decided to purchase the PlayStation 4 version because I'm generally quite annoyed about a blurry image. So I will try to avoid it as much as I can. I mean, playing at 1080p is fine for me, even on a 4K TV. But playing like a 480p game upscaled to 4K, that's a little bit of a stretch for me. And one of the big releases this month, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon, the launch edition for the PlayStation 5. I have already claimed that code, but I guess I will still be blurring that out just in case. But this time I was a little bit thinking ahead and actually claiming it before recording the video. And so now comes the hard part, because I have two collector's editions to show you guys, but I only have one hand. And both of them are quite big, so let me think about how I do that. It's actually surprisingly heavy. But I guess I can show it to you guys this way. So this is the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Collector's Edition, and I've just noticed it has a really nice art in the back. Let me flip it over quickly. So this is what the back looks like. It's a really nice artwork. It doesn't look as good as the US release of this Collector's Edition, because that one had a foil cover. If you have watched some other YouTubers unboxing that, you could see that it had some really nice colorful foil cover. But in the EU, we get this simple paper cover with, I guess this is still a little bit shiny, it's just not that rainbow foil that the US releases get. Then we have a nice steelbook for this. It is also kind of this shiny paint on it. And the back also has a little bit of a graphic on it. It's toned down, but actually these are things that I quite like, these little graphics. Like, I generally don't like these very, very graphically painted steelbooks, like the ones that the new Spider-Man 2 game will get, or the ones that the Horizon games got. I actually personally prefer these more toned down versions. Oh Jesus, how am I going to show this one? Right, well, I guess I'm just gonna lift it up like this. So we have an art book in it as well. This is not hardcover. I believe the US release is hardcover. This is simply a softcover art book. I haven't opened this one. I'm actually not going to open this one because I believe, just like with the Tears of the Kingdom's art book, this might contain some spoilers. So I will leave it after I finish the game, or at least until I get very far into the game. But for now, I will just keep it sealed. Okay, so let me switch the boxes up quickly. And here I thought the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Collector's Edition was a little bit hard to hold with one hand. Well, this is actually even worse. I've got the Starfield Constellation Edition for the PC. Now, I usually collect games for consoles and not for the PC, especially because I like physical releases and there aren't really any physical releases for the PC. But this is definitely a game that I would prefer to play on PC rather than on an Xbox. And turns out that the Constellation Edition does not contain the physical disc for the Xbox either. So both the Xbox and the PC versions only contain a digital download code. So I've decided to pick up the PC version because I would have purchased the PC version digitally anyway, and I will pick up the standard Starfield edition for the Xbox, which does contain a physical disc. So by the way, this box contains a steelbook, which includes the digital download key, and the biggest thing, it also contains a smartwatch. So that will be interesting to check out. I might make a review about that once I actually open this box. I've got it a couple of days ago, I haven't got to opening it just yet, but I'm very interested in that watch, although I'm a little bit curious, like how good is that watch, because I've seen a few early reviews of it, and compared to the price of this Constellation Edition, I can't say I'm I'm very like satisfied. For example, as I've seen, it doesn't even have like a heart rate sensor, which is kind of a basic thing nowadays. So that is actually kind of weird. But to be honest, I use a Xiaomi Mi Band 3 for, actually no, a Mi Band 5 for when I'm in the gym and for sleep tracking. So I guess during my daily activities, just going to work and just existing during the day, I don't think I need the heart rate sensor as much actually. So I guess the fact that it doesn't have that little bump on the bottom at your wrist might actually be a plus for a daily driver watch, because that thing can really dig into your skin, especially if you put it up like very tightly. That can leave a mark on your wrist. So I'm actually quite interested in that watch not having a heart rate sensor, because on one hand that's quite a basic feature missing, and on the other hand it might actually be a good thing for a daily driver watch at least. But let me put these boxes away and I get back to you guys. Okay, so holding the mic in hand for these types of videos may not be the best idea, but to be fair, I actually really like it. I think it makes me more comfortable on camera to have something in my hand. You know, it's just a little bit of a mental thing. So let's move on to talking about game releases. This month, in August, we had a couple of big releases. Baldur's Gate 3 being one of the biggest on August 3rd. Then we had Atlas Fallen on August 10th. Then we had Vampire Survivors for the Switch, Red Dead Redemption for the Switch and the PlayStation 4. Which is a little bit disappointing because it is a 30 FPS 4K upscale, but I guess similar to like Fallout games, the physics is probably tied to the frame rate, so they couldn't really upscale it easily. But as far as I know, some people have already fixed the frame rate on emulators, so you can actually play it on 60 FPS with no issues, so that's a little bit weird. Why wouldn't they do that? But I guess we could hope that a future patch could fix it, although let's face it, that's not going to happen. So on August 22 we had Immortals of Avium, which I found very interesting at first, but the more gameplay I've seen of it, the less interested I became. I didn't even pick it up actually, I didn't pre-order it, I didn't buy it, so I will wait for some reviews on it and maybe I will make up my mind about that. But also on the same day we had Age of Empires 4 released for the Xbox consoles. Then we had Blasphemous 2 released, successor to a great indie game, so I guess that's something you might find interesting. Then we had Armored Core 6, which I've already shown. We also had Tunic, but I don't have it on my notes because I think that was only a physical release, because Tunic was released I think months ago, maybe even a year ago, but this time it was released physically because previously it was only a digital release. So at August 29 we had Under the Waves and Sea of Stars, the latter being a very nice looking indie game. I actually kind of forget to pre-order that, or maybe that there wasn't a physical release. Maybe that's why I didn't pre-order it, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm definitely missing that one and I need to put that on my wishlist for sure. Then on the last day of the month, on August 31, we had Somerville for the PlayStation and Trine 5 A Clockwork Conspiracy. So those were the game releases, or at least the mentionable ones in August, and let's see what's coming in September. So first I would like to mention the games that I'm actually interested in. So originally September 6th was the designated release date for Baldur's Gate 3, but they moved it to August 3, so that's why we already have it, because of Starfield, which also releases on September 6th. I think I've actually got my copy on August 31, the Constellation Edition that I've just showed you guys, even though the game had like a 5-day early access for pre-orders, which is still only September 1st. But I mean, I'm not complaining, I got the game early, that's great. I obviously haven't played it, I have an Intel Arc graphics card, and as far as I've heard, it doesn't even run on it. So I will be playing it at a later date, just like with pretty much every other game that I get. I always play them like 6 months, maybe even a year after release, which is actually a good idea, and I will make a separate video about that one. But so Starfield has released. By the time you are watching this, Starfield has officially released on September 6th. And we will have Eternights on September 12th. It was originally meant to release on the 21st, but they moved it ahead for the 12th. And that's actually a very good looking game. I haven't heard about it before. I was checking game releases online while I was preparing for this video, and that's when I noticed Eternights, and I don't think I've ever seen that before. I don't think I've ever seen a trailer or gameplay video, but I've checked out a couple of them this afternoon, and that looks very appealing. So hopefully we will have a physical release of that one, but I haven't seen it anywhere online. I can only hope. Then on September 19th we will have two big game releases, Mortal Kombat 1 and Lies of P. Now with Mortal Kombat, I'm a little bit more of a Tekken guy, although I'm in general not really into fighting games, but if I'm playing a fighting game, I guess I'm more interested in Tekken than Mortal Kombat. Then on September 26, we will have Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty DLC released, which I think will also include a couple of big changes to the game as well. I mean the base game, like they will be releasing a huge patch along with it, I think. And on the same day we will have Miniko's Night Market, which looks kind of a cute, I think indie game. I'm not sure if it's actually indie, but it looks like one. And on 29th of September we will have Fate/Samurai Remnant, which is also a game I haven't heard about it before making these notes for today's video. And that also looks very appealing, so I'm gonna put that one as well on my wishlist. Although I think both with Eternights and with Fate/Samurai Remnant, I have just quickly searching up on those games, I have seen people questioning whether they are actually going to be great games or they are just some marketing hype. So we will see about those, but hopefully they will be good games. Now a couple of other notable mentions. These are general games that I don't think I will be picking up, but you guys might be interested in it, so I thought I would mention them in case you haven't heard about them or you forgot about them. So September 1 will be the release for Bomb Rush Cyberpunk on some consoles. On some it released I think back in August, but on some other consoles it will be releasing on September 1. Then on September 5th we will have Rune Factory 3 Special, which I think is a remaster of Rune Factory 3. And it also has quite a nice limited edition, so if you're interested in the game you might want to pick up the limited edition as well. Then on September 8th we will have NBA 2K24 and Fae Farm. On September 12th will be Super Bomberman R2. September 14th will be Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD Remaster. I think that's a Switch exclusive, although I'm not entirely sure. Then we will also have the latest Crew game, the Crew Motorfest, which does look nice, although I'm generally a Need for Speed guy, so I'm not really interested in that one, but it does look nice, that's for sure. And we will have Monster Hunter now, which I think is a mobile game in the Monster Hunter series. I'm not really into mobile games, so I will definitely be skipping that one. Then we will have Gloomhaven on September 18 for consoles. I think it released like 2 years ago on PC, but now it's going to release on the consoles as well. Then on September 21st we will have Payday 3 and Warhaven for the PC. Then on September 26th we will have Harvest Moon, The Winds of Entos, and also a very similar farming game I think, My Time at Sandrock, which I believe is a sequel to My Time at Portia, although I haven't played that one either. I think both of these games are kind of in this sort of Animal Crossing genre, and if I'm going to be playing any game in that genre, that will be Animal Crossing New Horizons. Or the new game if they are releasing one for the next Switch console. Maybe that will be the one that I'm going to start the series. And on September 28th we will have Infinity Strash, Dragon Quest The Adventures of Dai. I looked up on it quick and it looked interesting at first, but for some reason I still didn't feel like putting it on my wishlist. I'm not sure about how you guys feel about it, but on September 29 you can also play EA Sports FC 24, which is the new football game or soccer game for the American fans. I think their license with FIFA ran out, or they had some misunderstanding or something like that. So from now on it will not be called FIFA, it will be called FC. I believe it stands for Football Club. So that could be a game that you might be interested. I think from these I'm only thinking about NBA 2K24 to put up on my list, but I think the rest of them I will most likely be skipping. But anyways, these are the game releases that will be next month. And also in September I will be releasing 2 more videos other than this. One of them will be about this microphone, one of them will be an anniversary video, and I'm also thinking about releasing a couple of review videos, maybe not a couple, but maybe like 1 or 2 this month. I will need to get my thoughts together, write sort of a script or at least some sort of notes for that. I think for Stray and Returnal maybe. I haven't decided yet. I think I'm going to start with Stray though. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to mention this month. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys like this audio quality. I certainly do. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.